Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and CJ Stroud has been named the starter for the Houston Texans for Week 1 of the NFL after his monster performance in this last preseason game, going 2 for 4 for 16 yards and a touchdown. Now, everyone's wondering if the second overall pick is going to be enough to take this team the distance. Most people probably assume not. He's probably going to struggle potentially a little bit here. And Week 1 is in Baltimore, which you can't imagine is going to be a great opening. So is this the right move, Patrick, going with the young guy who has no experience over a guy like Davis Mills, who we know has the ability to lead a football team?
Yeah, Josh, let's look at it like this. Let's break down the facts here. 10-point underdog sitting as the Texans are right now. If we look at the rookie quarterback record the Ravens have, it's a pretty good one. You're asking CJ Stroud, who, number one, the first issue is he went to Ohio State. Okay, Ohio State quarterbacks aren't great in the NFL. Okay? Number two, he's going to play the Ravens in his first game, and he's a 10-point underdog. This is, I mean, you're asking him to do the impossible, and let's try to win a football game.
Well, no, Patrick, don't say anything bad about Ohio State there. CJ Stroud said the reason he's playing so well is because everything he learned at Ohio State. So,
I mean, and that's great. And that's great for him, but you know, let's ask other people, you know, how they're doing. Like, how's Cardell Jones doing? How's Troy Smith back in the day doing? They don't have jobs in the NFL right now, Josh.
I mean, that's true, I guess. So CJ Stroud, I mean, listen, all jokes aside, I thought CJ Stroud was a very good pick. I thought he is potentially better than Bryce Young as far as what his ceiling is. And so I am excited to see how he plays. Again, tough Week 1 versus the Ravens, and it probably doesn't get any easier from that, if I had to guess.
It actually does. But Josh, it actually does. And here's what I would do if I was the Texans, right? I'd go, you know what? Mills Mafia, you get Week 1. And guess what's Week 2? We get to go play the dysfunctional Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson.
So, okay, so fair. I think
that's what I would do.
Well, and I think that if you're starting a rookie quarterback their first year, you're pretty much saying our expectations for this year are nothing. We just want to get him experience. So,
which is maybe not a bad thing.
That's what the Texans are doing, and maybe this is going to play out for them well in the long run. Look at Trevor Lawrence and the Jags now. So, so that's good.
They made the playoffs.
On the other side of the ball, the Saints, led by Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston, I'll tell you what, he had potentially the most motivating, inspiring, electric pregame speech of all time. He said, "Gratitude is a key to abundance." There it is. Gratitude is the key to
Josh.
Abundance. He said, "Play for your families. Play for the name on the back of the jersey." And he was getting the boys hyped up, and again, proving that he's got starting quarterback material. And it's a shame that he's never going to get the chance. And
well, Josh is a former number 1 overall pick. I mean, you can't waste that talent, and you can't waste that opportunity if you're New Orleans. You're sitting here, you got Jameis Winston in his prime, not only on the field, with his play. But in his prime,
James Winston.
Right. He's in his prime giving pregame speeches. He's in his prime with his eyesight. And he's in his prime throwing the football. I mean, this is a guy that's going to start a game for the New Orleans Saints this year. And now, look, I mean, think about the weapons he has down there. I mean, he's got Taysom Hill, right? He's got tight end Taysom Hill. He's got Michael Thomas coming back. And he's going to have Alvin Kamara. So you give Jameis Winston those weapons in that kind of football city, I mean, the possibilities, Josh, we start looking around.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, 11 for 16, 93 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad night. Jameis Winston might come out, and if he gets the opportunity, all he needs is the opportunity. That's all he
Mhm.
needs. It's just that one opportunity, and then I think he could run with it. So good for Jameis.
Well, and
Matthew
here's the thing,
Stafford.
Josh.
Oh, go.
Yeah, I want to say one quick thing, Josh. We look at Colin Coward's wide receiver quarterback rankings, and he's got Derek Carr and Chris Olave, who haven't played a game together,
Yeah.
already on there. Imagine how high that jumps with Jameis Winston and Chris Olave.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. Justice for Jameis. I've been saying it all along. Get this guy a team that's gonna respect him. Honestly, he could go back to the Buccaneers today, I think, and potentially start there. So, yeah. So good for them. Moving on. Matthew Stafford is having a tough time connecting with his teammates. Now, this is an interesting story because you never think about when a quarterback gets older what that's going to do to a locker room, right? So I never really thought about if Tom Brady was having trouble connecting with his teammates. If I had to guess, he probably didn't. He's so good that they're just like, it's Tom Brady. He's the greatest. Connect with him. But it seems like Matthew Stafford is having some troubles with it, and I don't know what the solution is there, because if it's not Matthew Stafford, it's Stetson Bennett. And I don't know if Stetson Bennett's going to have any easier of time because he's just about the same age.
Yeah, this is a tough situation, Josh, that they're in. Yeah, when you're looking at LA, you're looking at Stafford was brought in. He was the savior of the franchise. And now he's looking down upon. And they're going, this guy's taking a pay cut. This guy can't remember guys' names. And Matthew Stafford's looking around going, hey, guys, you don't win a ring without me. And are the Rams disrespecting Matthew Stafford at this point?
It's like they forgot their short-term memory. They 1 year and they forget everything he did for that city, and that is disrespectful. It really is.
It is, Josh, because you start looking around. You got Matthew Stafford. You got Stetson Bennett. Do we really trust Stetson Bennett yet? And you've already said, I mean, because what's the upside? You bring in Stetson Bennett, and he's got what, just a couple more years in the league. So
yeah.
It's tough.
And let's talk about Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett, after a great first preseason performance, he's had some struggles. Saturday night, he went 4 for 9, 14 yards, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Now, if you throw 2 interceptions in 9 attempts, that's usually not a good thing.
Not great.
And they lost, 41-0 to the Broncos.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's good for the Broncos. Really, the program, the culture's turning around. Hopefully, that's going to translate into the regular season. But man, Stetson Bennett,
yeah, but
it's not
Stetson
good
Bennett,
look for the guy.
He's not a preseason guy. We all know that. He's used to winning national championships down in Georgia, so he's just walking through these kind of games. So, Josh, you know how hard it is to lose 41-0 in the preseason?
I don't.
Yeah,
No.
well, I would imagine
No.
it's pretty hard considering you're just throwing guys out there that's probably not going to make the team, especially in the third week.
Also, the Rams defense, are they going to suck?
Yeah, I think potentially the Rams are not very good. Like, it's a discussion we need to have, Josh.
But, they got the ring. They sold out. They did everything for the Super Bowl, which leads to the question. It's like, would you, if you were almost guaranteed a Super Bowl, but you knew you were gonna suck for the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years potentially, do you take that Super Bowl, or just maybe chance the fact that you could win a couple Super Bowls in that time span? I'd rather be competitive if I was choosing what I would want for my team, because yes, you get that 1 year, that's really exciting and that's great, but then you just know for the next 5 to 10 years you're gonna have nothing to look forward to.
Yeah, Josh, if I was a GM, if I was an NFL GM, I would simply just win the Super Bowl every year and have a competitive team every year. Like, it's that easy. Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
give up any years.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Rams did. So, that was their decision. Hopefully they made their bed. Now they gotta lie in it, as they say. Moving on to the next subject on the list. Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo still beefing. Let's lay out the history here.
Let's break it down.
So Tom Brady was in Las Vegas as in ownership mode. Looked nice, dressed up. As you remember, he bought part of the team from Mark Davis in this offseason.
He's got to get that money in
Tom
there.
Brady comes in, and the video circulates of him, saying, "Hey, make their life miserable," talking to Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, remember, this is not just new owner Tom and Jimmy's life. This is previously starting quarterback who overshadowed Jimmy G, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the same guy that cost Jimmy G a Super Bowl. And now, this is the same guy who Jimmy G has to call boss. And I don't know. I'm sure they got a great relationship, but maybe, just maybe, Jimmy G wasn't just focused in that video. There's a chance that Jimmy G he's tired of Tom being everywhere.
I mean, think
Everywhere
about
he
it.
goes, Tom follows.
Yeah, think about it. He's got to look over his shoulder constantly, right? He's supposed to be the guy that breaks Tom Brady up from New England. But Tom Brady, Robert Kraft say no, and the legacy continues. Then he gets traded to San Francisco. He's out there. He's doing his thing for a while. And then all of a sudden, the rumors are, hey, is Tom Brady going to come to San Francisco? Am I going to lose my job? And then he signs on his own with the Las Vegas Raiders. He thinks he's in a new stage of his life. And then, boom, Tom Brady's back. The question is Tom Brady obsessed with Jimmy Garoppolo?
There's a chance. I mean, Jimmy G is a handsome guy.
He's a handsome fellow.
I don't know. Do you think this is all like a revenge play? Because rumor has it that Bill Belichick wanted to start Jimmy G over Tom Brady?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, Josh, this is what I want to see happen, right? Because people forget Jacoby Brissett was on the Patriots to start games. The only way we can make this thing right is to take it back. Matthew McConaughey once said, you got to go back to go forward. And so what Las Vegas has to do is they need to make a trade for Jacoby Brissett. Brissett's got to be the backup for Garoppolo at this point, and you just got to run the Patriots back. Because if anything's worked in the NFL, is run teams that had success 7-8 years ago and run them back now. Because Las Vegas Raiders, with Josh McDaniels, who was their offensive coordinator, can try to light the fire under that franchise.
Not a bad idea. I wouldn't be a bad idea, Patrick. I don't disagree with that. Just bring back the Patriots on Las Vegas Raiders. I'd argue that they have nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, because, already Devontae Adams wants out, so that's tough. And Josh Jacobs, he didn't want to show up to work. So, how much worse can it get?
No, with Josh Jacobs, he's showing up to work now. They got it figured out. Contracts figured out, Patrick.
Got that figured. And you know what? The Raiders said for him? They said, you know what? We're going to give you a new number. And so, obviously, that everything's even now. Everything's fine. No big deal.
Yeah. No hard sweat. Just they got figured out. So that's cool. Noah Lyles, not NFL or NBA. Noah Lyles, USA track star Noah Lyles, has caused the NBA world to kind of get in a little bit of an argument. And the argument's actually just at Noah Lyles. They're all just people are mad at Noah Lyles because Noah Lyles came out with a clip saying that the people who call themselves world champions, the NBA champions who call themselves world champions, they're just self-proclaiming world champions, but what are they the world champions of? The United States is what he says.
That's what he said.
So basically, Noah Lyles says, "Hey, you know, you guys, you aren't really world champions. I'm a world champion. You guys are world champions of the United States." And last night I commented on it. He makes a point because if you think about it, are the best players in the world actually in the NBA? I don't know. Taco Fall, he's like 9 feet tall. He's not even in the NBA. He's playing over with the Monkey Kings right now. We got Ben Simmons probably pretty soon is going to finally make it to the overseas World League. So it just doesn't feel like you're right. I think he's right.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, they're well on their way to playing overseas. And that's what I would do if I was Russell Westbrook. I would just go to China, go to Taiwan, go to New Zealand, go to Australia, go wherever, and then just have the ball every play and score every play. Because, I mean, that's what he wants to do in the NBA. He just, unfortunately, isn't good enough anymore. So, look, they're trying to make the NBA a worldwide league. I mean, we know they're traveling. Right now, it's like World Cup, though, Josh, and people are forgetting that.
Well, it's true. Now, remember this, though, Patrick. On the flip side of things, maybe the NBA is technically worldwide because you do cover Canada, and people are talking about that. You get the United States and Canada.
Well, Josh, and you got to remember, the NBA goes out, they play games in Mexico, they play games overseas and in the United Kingdom and stuff like that. So you're expanding the presence worldwide. I mean, Noah Lyles, I don't even know where you raced your last event.
So should they change their name from the NBA to the IBA, International Basketball Association?
Yeah, so it's a conversation that needs to be had because if you're Adam Silver, you're looking around. I'm getting players from overseas. Do you know where Victor Wembanyama is from? He's from France, Josh. And so now you're turning around the NBA, you're turning into the IBA. I mean, hey, congrats to Adam Silver and the boys over there.
Good job, Adam. Yeah, I mean that's true. I think the NBA. Listen, Noah Lyles he's a joke. Like the fact that, by the way, good for him for, I guess, making a name for himself in like literally 5 minutes. So that's great. But if you don't think that the NBA is the cumulative of the world as far as talent goes, then you're not watching. The NBA is essentially the world league, so they can call themselves world champs. And if there ever is a league with more talent, more eyeballs, more everything else, they can call themselves the world champs. But as far as I'm concerned, if you think otherwise, I stand with Devin Booker and Easy Money Sniper because
it's hard to stand with Devin Booker. What does he want? It's hard to stand with Devin Booker. What does he want?
Well, no, because he's just there because Kevin Durant's there. So Kevin Durant was in the comment section, and basically his whole thing is Devin Booker needs to do what Kevin Durant does. He's trying to follow step by step,
right? Which is smart.
Be Kevin Durant.
Smart.
Yeah, which is smart. So, yeah, that's how it goes. So I stand with Devin Booker in this only scenario. Moving on, the San Francisco Giants mascot is a creep. Last night, Patrick, you were watching the game and we were on FaceTime and you said, Josh, I think the Giants mascot just kissed a fan. Well, we found the clip and turns out you were right. The Giants mascot, unprovoked, went and didn't just peck a fan, full on grabbed and kissed a fan. Now, this is a disappointing day to be a Giants fan because many of the world didn't even know the Giants had a mascot. And making its internet debut, potentially doing something that wasn't consensual. And I don't know if it wasn't consensual, but it didn't look consensual. It's a tough day to be a Giants fan. Patrick, tell
Yeah.
me about who this mascot is, and why is it going around kissing fans?
Yeah, let's break it down. We got Lucille for you, okay? Born in 1996. Lucille's been around for now decades, okay? Born just west of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and just a swimming distance to the team's playing facility, Oracle Park. So, I mean, Lucille's always around the team. You know, that's what you get with this team mascot. And, you know, Lucille comes from a very large family. I was going to say, doesn't know a lot of his relatives because he's never met them. But, and that's okay. But Lucille is a big Giants fan. I mean, it says that his dad and his grandpa was a big Giants fan, so it's a generational thing for them. And I mean, so, Lucille's just like us. His weight, what is his weight listed as? He could use a diet.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, you know, also he could use a lesson on consent. I don't know, Patrick, what your orientation was like going to school, but I read a video. I watched a video about tea, and so it's tough. And I'd argue though, if he loved the Giants so much, he probably wouldn't treat the fans that way, or maybe that's why he treats the fans that way, because he loves the Giants so much. Now, I don't know too much about seal culture, and it could be a culture thing, Patrick, as far as going and you know, kissing. Sometimes a kiss is a greeting. In certain cultures, it's a greeting. So I don't know if that was maybe a greeting kiss.
It could be.
It didn't look like one. It didn't feel like one anyway. And I'm disappointed specifically, Patrick, in the MLB for how they haven't taken any action, and potentially in the Giants, because for all we know, this guy's been doing this for years. He could be going around
just
kissing fans for years, and with no consequences. And if Rob Manfred, where's he in all this?
Yeah, fans are looking for someone to take action after what happened last night, and Rob Manfred's nowhere to be found. And this isn't a first for Rob Manfred. We know that he does not care about baseball fans in the Bay Area, okay? He's not having their protection for San Francisco Giants games, and he's moving the team for the Oakland Athletics. So clearly, Rob Manfred just does not like the Bay Area.
That's great. He doesn't. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it. He's let Lucille run rampant in the Giants Stadium for all these years, and I guess it was all fun and games when they were winning World Series, but it's been a few years now.
They're not.
And then you're right. We're talking about the Athletics. He's done nothing for them. So, man, Rob Manfred hates the Bay Area, confirmed, and we need to get this mascot in check. Is what I think the biggest thing we can all agree on is.
Well, and you know what happened when they had that rampant seal in the Pacific Coast that was taking surfers' surfboards? You know what they did with that seal? They replaced it. I can't imagine what they're going to do with Lucille.
Do we know if that was Lucille?
Could have been. It starts to make sense if that's the case.
If that's the case, it starts to make a lot of sense.
I mean, could have been one of his many relatives that he has not met.
This is one of the most unhinged mascots in all of sports. The most unhinged mascot in all of sports. And Lucille needs to be stopped ASAP.
Basically, it's Philly Fanatic hitting people on the eyeballs with hot dogs and Lucille kissing people.
Yeah. This is tough. So, hey, hopefully that franchise gets the help it needs. Arizona State inflicts a self-ban from bowl games after the previous coaching regime did some not so great things when recruiting during COVID. And so instead of letting the NCAA give them the ban, they say, "Hey, you can't fire us. We quit." Interesting move on their part, Patrick. Do you think this was the right move to inflict a self ban when they potentially could have just not banned themselves from bowl games?
Yeah, but it's a great call. You know, you get a first year head coach, and you're probably not making a bowl game anyway. And so
Okay.
you start looking around, and you're going, "Hey, NCAA, no need for you to step in here. We know we made a mistake. We took care of it ourselves." But also on the flip side, Josh, is there a rule that says all the past infractions that you have, if they're in a different conference, it doesn't matter because they go to the Big 12 next year?
You're right. So they should have just not done anything. And so say they get a
It's a
punishment.
clean slate.
So say they get a punishment. Well, guess what? Punishment ends in a year.
Right.
So, man, that's a great point, Patrick. Well, what I want to know is how they got caught. Because I know for a fact every single team in the NCAA that's any good at football was doing everything that they were doing. Now, is it because they weren't good and they didn't get away with it? Because maybe if they were winning, we're up for a national championship, then maybe that solves all their problems. I don't know. But again, just don't get caught. This is what my biggest advice for the next time.
It's a moral of the story.
It's the moral of the story. So good for Arizona State for really, being integral. Is that the word? For having integrity.
Yeah.
Good for Arizona State for having integrity. Chase Elliott doesn't make the playoffs. This is the last thing on the docket. Chase Elliott needed a win in Daytona to make it in, and he couldn't get it done. Came in fourth. Personally, he was kind of done dirty by Ryan Priest, who, if Ryan Priest doesn't flip 50 times in the air and that caution doesn't come out, then Chase Elliott could make a run because Kyle Larson behind him. Kyle Larson was pushing. They were working hard. But also, Alex Bowman was maybe the worst teammate of the year because Alex Bowman chose to ride the high side, and instead of dropping down and with his teammates, Kyle Larson and
Yep. You got it.
Hold up, it's there. William Byron. So
Yep.
So they were all there. Alex Bowman right there could have dropped in and did the 4-team push to get Chase Elliott into the playoffs. He doesn't do that.
Why would Chase get into the playoffs?
Because he's the
Why
better
wouldn't
driver.
Alex Bowman get the same treatment?
Because Chase is the better driver. That's how it works.
Really? Because he got suspended for reckless driving earlier in the year.
Again, though, but you gotta
Alex Bowman. Hard. If you think about why Alex Bowman was leading the points until he went out, and that was because of an injury in another race car. If my memory is suiting me right here, Josh, Chase Elliott missed a race because he got suspended for reckless driving, and then he also missed other races because he was on a snowboard
for non-racing actions. You can't count that against him as a driver.
How?
So here's the thing: Alex Bowman needs to do better as a teammate. And Alex, if you're listening, I love you, but you should have dropped down, and it probably would have helped you too, because you get the Hendrick horsepower times 4.
Yeah, but we all know the Fords had way more speed.
But you get that Hendrick horsepower times 4. I'd say that's better than a 4 times 2.
I don't know. Pretty debatable considering that. All the Fords pretty much had the top 10 covered in qualifying.
Well, all I'm saying is Chase got done dirty. Ryan Priest, don't wreck next time.
Well, unfortunately it was our boy Eric Jones that pushed him into that position.
Oh no, Eric Jones, friend of the show.
Yeah, Eric Jones just turned him sideways.
I take back everything I said. Everyone's good. Whatever. Okay. So that's the show, guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We're figuring this online format out again.
We know that you guys are listening to this point, so you would know we're figuring things out.
We know that when I say here that if you DM us on Instagram, you will get a $10 McDonald's gift card and a free mug that you're going to DM us. But again, we are figuring this out. We got a ton of content coming out this week. It's going to be an exciting time. So, yeah. This is the worst. This is the worst one ever. Hopefully we have a good clip or something. Jeez. Anyway, guys, take it easy. You have a wonderful week. I'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.
Peace.